This was the biggest per screen of the year. Kinds of
My
Kindness.
theater was
Look at this.
bumping.
Look, the per
5 screens.
set
The per screen was
Dude,
$75,000.
75 per screen. That's insane. That's the biggest per screen of the year, bigger than any of the massive studio releases. So Kinds of Kindness did
good for him.
Massive per screen, with like, I mean, not a huge marketing. You know, it was like selective marketing. Yeah,
like we were talking about how on Challengers, the picture of Josh and Mike, kissing Zendaya was an entire marketing thing.
Emma Stone
far
dancing.
better. The Emma Stone dancing.
Emma Stone dancing was the marketing.
It just hit a level of viral. And I don't know about your theater, but when that part happened in the movie, everybody was so excited because they were waiting for that song and that dance.
Oh,
and
cool. Were they still?
That was the whole. They were still there.
That's all. They were still awake at that point. They were still awake when she started dancing. Joe, tell me why you like this movie. You told me you liked this. Tell me why you like this movie.
All right. So Kinds of Kindness, Yorgos Lanthimos' first film after his award-winning 10 times over film
Poor Things,
where Emma Stone plays
Poor me for having to watch it.
Plays the now famous character Bella Baxter in a Frankenstein story of finding her sexual expression. Though Brett and I very, very much dislike Poor Things, it's a single idea passionately communicated. It's a lame idea of a child, but it's still passionately communicated. It's also very sweet, even though prudes will tell you it's like crass because of nudity or some nonsense, but like really it's whatever. That's not the point. The point is that Poor Things is like a cohesive concept, and it's also rather endearing and sweet and optimistic and uplifting. Kinds of Kindness is sort of the reaction to that. It's sort of the Yorgos going, no, I'm not a nice guy that cares
a bad
about
boy.
Female sexual liberation. I'm a kooky, crazy guy.
I'm fucked up.
Remember Dogtooth? How weird that fucking shit was. Now, how about this? I'm gonna make a weirdest movie you ever seen. It's so what this movie is it's 3 movies that have a same cast: Jesse Plemons, Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, and others, Hung Chow, etc. Then each one, they all take place in New Orleans, and there's 3 different stories, and the stories focus on control, duplicity, sexuality, cults, all different things about power and sex and how those things are intertwined. We get cannibalism, we get group sex, we get murder, we get all sorts of kooky, crazy stuff. There is like a general sort of thematic throughs that pocket each of the 3 shorts. So it's 3 shorts in a row, essentially. It's 3 hours long. And they all sort of thematically tie together. I hate Yorgos Lanthimos. I am not a fan of his films. I like The Favorite, but really, other than that, I find his version of, please excuse me, like a Brechtian abstraction to be dreadfully childish and ineffective as a storytelling device. And what I mean by that is his characters they're in heightened situations, but speak with sort of this subdued monotone that suggests comedy. But really what it is it suggests to me that, like I always say, that Yorgos doesn't have the courage of his convictions, and neither do his characters, where they can flit through this crazy, zany world, but act totally nonchalant and act as if they're unaffected, or act as, sort of these vessels that take us through Yorgos's crazy mind, and they just get to be funny because they're so droll. Anyway, in Kinds of Kindness, I kind of liked it. Here's why I kind of liked it. First of all, it's not funny. He thinks he's very funny, and he thinks he's very sharp, and he thinks he has a lot of insight into sexuality and into the world. But actually, I think he's just like kind of a normal guy with normal opinions about the world. Like, the world is kooky crazy, and sex is exciting and of interest. But I really don't think he has a lot of deeper sort of ideas about people and stuff. Like, power is a thing that he is obsessed with, and he uses it in Kinds of Kindness to, to drive the narrative. Anyway, why I liked it was this. Number one, Jesse Plemons gives a really, really good performance, I think. He plays three versions of the same kind of guy in this movie, and each one is completely and totally unique and different in exciting ways. And I don't know how he does it. He plays the monotonous, droll Yorgos lead, like Colin Farrell did in The Lobster. And I love Colin Farrell, but he stinks in The Lobster, and The Lobster stinks. But Jesse Plemons is able to like find all this nuance in Yorgos's stupid frame, much like Ray Fiennes finds nuance and movement in Wes Anderson's beautiful stupid frames in the Grand Budapest Hotel. But it, Plemons is number one. Number two, Brett, like I just saw The Bike Riders, and then I saw Kinds of Kindness, and I just had to kind of be like, just like a gentle tip of the cap for just like being yourself. You're a weird theater kid that has a beautiful eye, has a real eye.
Don't lower your bar, Joe. Right now, the cinema is trying to beat us into submission to lower that bar. Do not lower that bar.
Not lowering
that bar.
But how about this? I go to the movies a lot, and sometimes people aren't as. It's not like a bar lowering. I know what you're saying. I guess I just like.
I get that. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying don't lower the bar.
This is like Yorgos's Black Mirror. The whole time I was like, this guy just wanted to make a Black Mirror. This sucks. But it was okay. So things I liked about it. One, Plemons. Two, he has very nice photography. He just does. I don't like it. And what he doesn't do in this, he doesn't do the fucking fisheye the whole entire time. At the end, when the movie is completely slipping through his fingers and he has no idea what he's trying to say, in the third part of the triptych, he starts going back to like, oh, I'm gonna bend the frame. Here's a little fisheye, and I'm like, Yorgos, you should have just made the first part of this movie the whole movie, and just made another 10 minutes and just like made that the movie. But anyway, he resists the fisheye for most of it, and I think that the movie looks very pretty, and there's a lot of very lovely shots and colors. That's just the way I feel. Third thing, I kind of liked the first story, Brett, and then I liked elements of the second story. The third story didn't work for me.
The third story is Emma Stone dancing story.
Yeah. And then the final thing I liked about Kinds of Kindness is the Eurythmics song. But that's not really.
Okay.
He doesn't really get credit for that.
He doesn't get credit
but
for
it
that.
is a good song.
It's a good song.
When it played, I was like, oh yeah, okay, time to watch a movie.
Yeah, when it played over the opening credits, I was like,
yeah,
I was like, all right, I'm here. I'm ready to go. What do you got?
I'm trying to be nice.
Why are you trying to be nice? This guy is massively successful. You can punch up.
I'm trying to be honest. Is what I'm trying to do, because I can't just like come in here and start my like the screed same as always, because I was watching a minor work. I sort of like took minor offense to the gratingness of his sort of comedy and of his mind. I'm excited to hear you didn't like it. I'm not saying this is a good movie or a great movie, but I am saying that I liked it, and I hated parts of it. I think he is such a weak provocateur. Like, he thinks he's such a nasty little fucker, but he's such a fucking prude. I just like, he thinks he's twisting the knife. He's devilish and he's kooky, but I find him to be so lame. I like that he has an eye. I like that he has motifs. I like that he's obsessed with power and sexuality. And I like that he likes to use the same actors over and over. I just find that always charming in anyone's filmography. It just suggests to me that people like working with him, which just like makes me like him more. I don't like learning when people are like, he stinks to work with, is tough for me. Like, oh, Quentin Tarantino let Uma Thurman crash into the tree on Kill Bill. It's like, that makes Kill Bill less good for me now. That's sad, right? So it's like, I like that people keep going back to him. I guess he's like fun and good or whatever. But and I didn't find them, because it was like kind of a fuck you throwaway after Poor Things. I wasn't as like invested in hating it. I was just sort of along for the ride. I didn't see it at 10 p.m. My audience was, what's funny? My audience was there and they wanted to be raucous, but honestly, they were subdued because it's a long movie.
Same happened to my
with
screening.
Very few sort of peaks. But I really think that Plemons was so good in this movie, Brett. I like the colors, I like the photography, I liked the idea of three. I know this isn't the first anthology film ever. You don't see them a lot. They're usually bad or they don't often work, and this one doesn't really work. But it had some exciting
Look,
things in it. I thought Emma
Plemons,
Stone and Margaret Qualley
they're
were
always
funny in
good.
it.
They're always
And like
everybody's always good. Plemons is always good. Emma Stone's always good. Margaret Qualley's always good. Willem Dafoe's always good.
You're asking me how this movie was. They were in this movie being good, and I'm telling you, well, I don't know. I love Willem Dafoe, but I think I'll save this for basement takes. Like, it's kind of time to take our Willem Dafoe fucking thing down a peg, because I love Willem Dafoe. He's great or whatever.
He's
but
letting he's letting these
free pass.
No, and he's letting these directors like decide his thing in a way. Like he's like, I feel like he's almost devolved into like this like chess piece that these auteur directors just like deploy. Whereas I want like full fucking I want fucking energy out of this guy. He's letting these auteur directors use him as like a meme almost, and I really don't like it at all.
Yorgos is not Lars Van Trier. No. Like, Willem Dafoe deployed in a Lars Van Trier movie has weight and heft. In a Yorgos movie, Willem Dafoe's he's a tool. Trifle. He's a tool. It's a joke.
Yes,
it's a joke.
And look, Joe, you're being I mean? Like, I get it. Okay, I can sum up this movie like this. There was a group when I went. This was a 10 o'clock screening of a 3-hour movie. There was a group of like 6 people in front of me that were so hyped to see this movie. They were cheering at the Nicole Kidman AMC intro. They were fucking ready to rock. Right? These literally halfway through the second vignette, this whole group of people got up and left.
No.
And then that's around the time I realized that there was another guy that was fully asleep and snoring. And I was like, that sums up this movie. There was no reason to make and release this movie. Like, you're an artist, you're a director, you have infinite ideas. You need to select which ideas actually get into, like, which ideas become movies. This was such a fuck around, and I'm really like, I want my money back. It's that kind of movie. It's like, I didn't get value out of this experience. I'm glad y'all had a little fuck around, and I'm glad you and Emma continued whatever the fuck your relationship is, but this was not a real movie. And Joe, this is not like I get your angle on it. I understand your angle on it, but I have to say, this movie, even more than Poor Things, exposes Yorgos as ultimately kind of a fraud and kind of a moron, operating in a register that he is not capable of capitalizing on. This is like such poor man's theater of the absurd. I can't even explain. This is like, what if Harold Pinter got like hit in the head by a piano? This is like, what if Edward Albee published his like Apple Notes app as a play? What if UNESCO was just a total fucking fraud? What if Samuel Beckett, to quote Joe, was just lame? What if Samuel Beckett was just sort of a lame guy? It is such like
he honestly thinks he's Ian.
It's
Esco.
not.
You're 100%
it is
right.
like, dude,
he is not.
Like,
he
much like Jeff Nichols found out he was not Martin Scorsese, Yorgos needs to be told that he is not Samuel Beckett or Harold Pinter. This is such bargain basement nothing theater of the absurd. Like, it is. It's just like it's like the toothless fanboy version of theater of the absurd. It is like, it's because the thing that like he doesn't understand is that like theater of the absurd still depends on the interplay between specificity and abstraction. That you like Yorgos, to me, sees theater of the absurd as this like refuge where he can do nothing but then get credit for doing something, where he can he can constantly avoid getting to any sort of point, but get credit because, like, oh, isn't it fun to see Emma drive the fast car? Yeah, it's fun to see Emma drive the fast car. What's the point of this 3-hour fucking movie, Yorgos? There's no fucking point. It's not like it's like theater of the absurd still requires nuance and precision and detail. It's not this it's not this like this place where you can constantly evade making a movie. And there was a lot of commonalities between Kinds of Kindness and Bike Riders. To me, it felt like two auteurs that were avoiding making a movie for 2 hours and 3 hours respectively. And I'm kind of sick of it. Like both these movies, I sort of wanted my money back at the same time that I encourage both these guys to keep making movies. But these were just such big like flailing fails in a way. Like there was just nothing fucking there. And this, I cannot do this like this dialogue he does where it's like it's so like theater of the absurdity, but like
I hate it,
but
Brett.
like without any like
abstraction.
panache to it. Where it's just like, I will have a double whiskey. It okay is a double so a double whiskey is the drink you're ordering. Yes, a double whiskey is what I will be ordering, and now I will be drinking it, and that's what I will be doing. It's like that. It's like shut the fuck up with this shit. It's nothing. That's nothing.
You know,
that's nothing. Like you don't get credit for that being something because that's nothing. He's like a con man. It's like it's at this point. It's like is Yorgos like a? But look, I love The Favorite. I love Dogtooth. He can do the damn thing, but this movie is a fucking con. It is a con.
This movie is very a like epilogue to Poor Things. It's very like it's just a little trifle after the.
Well, it's
the
literally
meal.
it's like
it's dessert.
Here's the thing. Look, and this is more of a basement take, but I'm going to put it on the main show. I don't know what the fuck you and Emma Stone or Emily Stone have going on. Like, I don't know, and I just don't care. It's not our business. But it's starting to, like, bleed into the movies now. Like, did you see this thing about how this whole movie originated because she sent him that, like, she took a phone video of her doing the dance in the Bella Baxter outfit. And that's how we got the idea for this movie. And I'm just like... all of that would be fine if there was a movie here, but am I just like paying for you and Emma Stone to have this sort of like mutual masturbation abstract like fuck fest where you don't fuck ever? Like, what is that? What is your relationship and why do I have to care about it? Make a fucking movie or don't.
It's the abstraction of theater.
That was a basement take. That should not have gone on the main. That felt too much.
Yeah, Yorgos is my least favorite. Sort of.
He's a fraud. Director.
He's not funny.
He's not there.
It doesn't have a lot to say, unfortunately.
And if you go back, like he came out of what
things is like Hillary Clinton wrote a movie about like feminist sexual awakening. It stinks. And in Kinds of Kindness, he says, "No, I'm not Hillary Clinton. I'm actually Trump, and now I'm crazy.
I'm bad. See?
I'm so. Don't forget about me.
Bad.
I'm crazy.
I'm
man.
so bad.
You're not crazy, man.
I'll show a shot of a dog hanging from a noose. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I don't give a shit about your movies anymore.
I liked some of the shots very much. That's all.
Sure.
And then additionally, I'll say it again. If I was programming a Plemons retrospective, I would program this
Plemons
movie.
crushes.
Excellent.
It's honestly
excellent.
It's almost vindicated by like cracking open a new chapter to the Plemons story. That's the only thing that justifies this movie is Plemons Plemons found like a new angle and a new trick.
So good.
And that is because it's almost like it's like the character he played in Breaking Bad, but instead of like doing the sort of like innocence of it all, like he's like evil but he's innocent of it. It's like he's leans into the evil of it all. He's like more like give us like can we get like Plemons serial killer movie next or something maybe like the only thing that makes this movie worthwhile is if next we get like the Plemons serial killer movie or something like that where Plemons does like American Psycho or his version
in
of
the
it.
next one
oh right because he already announced his next movie because this guy just like is always making movies.
Emma's a CEO. Yeah, it was $75,000 per screen. He gets to make another one.
Great, congratulations! I'm so happy for you.
Emma
in
plays
my
like
screening.
A CEO.
Hey, guess what happened? Guess what happened on one of those screens? Half the audience walked out, and the guy fully fell asleep. Like fell asleep to an extent I've never seen in a movie theater before. Was snoring for I am not exaggerating. You like 2 hours. This guy was snoring for the second 2 hours of the movie. Snoring. Sometimes like the music would pick up and I was like, did he stop snoring? And then it would get quiet again. I was like, no, he's still fully snoring. He's actually snoring louder than he was before.
The first 80 minutes of the movie is okay. And then it gets worse and worse and worse the whole entire time. And it really ends with a fucking nothing thud where you are left scratching.
Fraudulence. Fraudulence.
That's kinds of kindness.
Class
And
action lawsuit levels of fraudulence. I'm gonna get together with the other people that made this movie 75 K per screen. We're gonna do a class action lawsuit. We're coming for your ass, Yorgos.
it was probably his like second best movie, third best movie. I think it was his third best movie.
Go watch. He comes out of the
I-
Greek weird wave. Go watch other Greek weird wave. It's great stuff. It's great stuff. He's the like fraud who made it big out of like, it's the classic thing where you have this like
So how it always goes.
authentic film movement, local film movement, and then the one guy who's willing to
Who
like
sucks.
who sucks, like makes it big. That's who Yorgos is.